right. What is up? What is up? Episode number 45.
What's up, guys?
Winners Wednesday. Welcome, guys. Welcome back to the Strategy Vault. Felix, how's it going, brother?
Moi, ça va toujours bien, Joey. Ça va toujours bien. On est toujours de bonne. Non, c'est pas vrai. It's not true. Ça va pas toujours bien. But
we fucking do shit anyways, right? We get shit done anyways.
We still
we don't
keep
give
going.
a shit how we feel inside. At the end of the day, we still do what we have to do. And that's why we're here, man. Every day when I talk to you about business and success and stuff like that, it just fucking overrides my... I don't know if it's going to make sense. It overrides my feelings. Like sometimes I don't feel great. You know, sometimes I don't feel like, I feel a bit sick. I feel like I have a bit of a headache. And I'm like, you know, but having these talks with you, I just always get fired up. So love it, man. And I hope our viewers too are getting are getting that kind of value as well.
Yeah, we need that. We need that, especially in these hard times. Like these economic times have been as challenging as they have provided opportunity. So it's really your view on the thing, because some people like Elon Musk is one of the guys that he got told by everyone, don't do this, don't do that, don't go there. Space shuttle, are you crazy? And he still went, and he didn't care, and he pushed forward where nobody would like think possible. And there's other examples of people like that. I follow on LinkedIn a lot of the content from Pizza Salvatore and their owners. They're very present. They do a lot of things on social media and elsewhere. They're everywhere. Their presence is massive, and they take care of their personal image as much as they take care of their brand image. And they take massive action. Each and everyone, they're brothers and sisters. You go check that Jordan Pizza Salvatore.
Yeah, you were telling me about that the other day. By the way, I just want to shout out. Boobs has a question for us. How are the crypto bags doing, fellas? Bro, how about that? Bitcoin 100K almost. I don't know if it hit. Boobs has BTC hit 100K yet? Bro, I checked it earlier. It was like 93K USD. Completely ridiculous. Crazy stuff. But yeah, man, just to get back to what you were saying there,
it's not my thing. I just don't know. I don't really know about crypto. I could say like it's actually, I guess it's obviously a good thing, but it's less my my cup of tea, I would say.
Yeah, we all have our area of expertise. Yeah. And you, it's certainly not crypto, but no, it's still absolutely wild though to see that hit 100K. Like I'm just disappointed I didn't buy more, but what can you do? Anyways, Pizza Salvatore. Yeah, you were talking to me about those guys that they took over their father's business and they fucking marketed like geniuses, and now they have like over 100 locations.
Of over 100 locations, they have more. They're opening up more brands, like ice cream brands, and I saw them. They're planning on opening another branch, another brand, and franchising the whole thing. Very interesting to look at.
Know what? You mentioned something about Elon Musk before, about like him doing crazy, like what people would think is impossible, building those rockets that land themselves. And you said that people were telling him,
or building restaurants. Crazy. How many people thought that it was impossible to finance and build more restaurants in 2024, which is completely stupid. It's a stupid idea. Like we're not going to go out to eat anymore. It's so stupid. I
think like something triggered in my brain when you said that. Like people said that they would never be able to achieve that. I think we have this thing in us to prove people wrong. I think it fires us up when people tell us, "Oh no, you can't do something." I don't know about you, but there have been people in my life that kind of like tried to put me down and tried to like try to make me fail. Like I don't know if it just fires the shit. Like it lights a fire under your ass to fucking prove everybody wrong. You know what I mean? And I think that's
it really to
Like when you
prove,
said that about Elon and about the.
or is it really because you know something that others don't?
What do you mean?
I mean, when you know your capacity, when you know what you know your potential, you know, because only you know your contacts, what they're capable of, your own personal energy, what you're capable of. And most of no, the reason I'm saying that is because most of us don't know. Like, we don't ask ourselves these questions on a daily basis. We're not really asking ourselves, "Hey, what could my potential do?" Like, nobody asks that. It's a very basic question, but what are you spending your time doing on your 24-hour? And what could you be doing that could improve your situation next week, next month? Yeah, by next week. I don't want to say next year, because what could you do now that could improve for next year is just not relevant. Things might change, and that's what we're going to be talking. That's the subject of today. That's the chapter 7 of my favorite book of the week. This is this is this is golden, guys. So chapter 7, we're talking about the 4 degrees of action. Um, because how
Boobs. Yeah, boobs. Unfortunately, I didn't buy any BTC, bro. I have some ETH. I didn't buy BTC, but how about you, man? How's your crypto portfolio doing? Yeah,
so
sorry, Phil.
so so how much action is enough? You know, how much action is enough? And enough for what? You know, what's enough? What's enough action, George? What's enough tasks? What's
I guess you
enough?
need to evaluate your situation and determine how much action to put in.
So how much? So let's put it that way. How much action is necessary for success, like to be considered successful in this planet? How much action do you need to put in? Like, how much effort? What's big effort? What's a lot? And what's enough? Because some people will be like, "Hey, you're doing so much, or you're doing too much, or you're working too much. You're exhausting yourself." I've been told that. My grandmother, when she just right before she passed away, that's what she told me. She told me, don't do too much. I was asking myself, when she told me that, I was asking myself, what's too much? What's too much? In her eyes, too much is like, I'm already doing too much. But I know that I'm doing nothing now because nothing has happened yet. Like, we're not 100 million, 500 million valuation company. We're nothing yet. So what's a lot? Because I will do more. And I won't tell that to my 93 years old grandmother. Hey, I'll do more, grandma. Don't worry about it. I'm going to do much more than I'm doing right now. So what's enough,
like,
bro?
Like, he says it all the time in the book, right? Like, we need to set crazy goals. He talks about 10x goals all the fucking time. And we need massive goals to do massive action all the time. It needs to be the crazy goals that make you uncomfortable. And they need to be, like, for me anyways, like, just having vague goals, it doesn't work. They need to be specific, actionable goals. Specific. I need to go get the milk. I'm just giving you a random example. I need to get a milk. Write down what time you're going to go get the milk. How are you getting the milk? Are you taking the car? Like,
in style.
As specific as possible. Okay, maybe the milk is a bad idea. It's a bad, I want to get better at giving examples, because I feel like it's all about marketing. Is all about.
What's a goal, bro? Like, what's a goal you're giving yourself? Like buying apartment.
Okay, let's say buying a new apartment. Let's say buying a new apartment. Okay, because that's what I do. I do real estate. So a goal would be show up to the next meetup, the next real estate meetup. Show up early to the next meetup. I don't know. How can I get more specific than that? Because the more specific you are, the more likely you are to do that
Mm.
to tackle that goal. If you just have a vague goal like, oh, go to real estate conference. Okay, when is it? What time is it? How are you getting there?
Mm.
Imagine if it's specific to the T, like at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Go to the conference. I don't know if you're taking the train. Get to the train station by 8:05. Like specific goals. What are you bringing with you? What do you plan on talking about?
Yeah,
Like-
that's very interesting. The conference example is interesting because for me, I like how you bring that up. Understanding how to calculate the amount of action that it will take you to do something to achieve a goal. So you're talking about a conference. So let's say you have a conference in mind that you want your business to buy a booth and present. It's $1,500, $3,000, $5K, $10K, whatever. Like these could go expensive, whatever. The first thing, if I'm interested in doing that, if it's a real goal that I have in my mind and I want to do, the first thing my first action would be to pay the ticket. I'll pay for the booth. That has to be the first action. If you do actions prior to buying, like putting your money in front of what you want to do, I feel like the rest of it will take. You might underachieve. You need to put the money first in. As soon as the money is in, you're in. You're
committed.
You're committed.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like subconsciously it reminds you, hey, I put 1,500 there. We need to prepare. Like we need flyers, we need cards, we need a video, we need a TV, we need to set up the booth. So calculating the amount of action is actually more important than the idea itself. Having good ideas all day is absolutely not a guarantee of success. You could be
It's
out
all
there.
about the executional skills. How do you execute? That's number one.
Yeah.
But if you compare execution with good ideas, and who comes to mind when you think execution? Which famous person comes to mind when you think like the best at executing?
The best at executing. That's a very good
there are
question.
a few. There are for sure a few, but which ones come to mind for you?
Well, like really, I have to say, I'm very impressed with the growth of the restaurant company I was talking about. They built restaurant. They had their own license for construction, which was super smart, because in that game, building restaurant, it costs a lot of money if you deal with a company. It's so brilliant.
In the other book that we're reading, they took advantage of their greatest area of opportunity. It's crazy how all our topics fucking just come together.
They come together.
Everything comes together, man.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they do talk about each other's, like without knowing, like they cross they do crossbreed each other's. Like we're the results, and we're the outcome of, like, getting educated on these books and making sure that our daily actions are tinted with what we've learned in these books. And it's funny you say that, because we try to do this podcast to do the same thing with our viewers and tint them with the same
bro, like, I just want our viewers to know that I don't have all the answers. You don't have all the answers. Like, I'm speaking for myself now. Like, I've had so many aha moments just talking to you in this podcast. And that's the whole point of this podcast. I'm talking to you, man, and I'm getting smarter. We're reading business books together. We're getting smarter. We are. There's so many, like, every live, I'm sitting here talking to you, and my brain is like, interesting. Interesting. And I'm just learning, and I've had so many aha moments just sitting here talking to you.
Making you
and
think,
I hope that people who are viewing our stuff are getting the same kind of value.
Some kind of vibe.
It's crazy how people could just come in here for free and listen to this. It's crazy, bro.
It won't be free for long. Might ask you for a couple dollars in a couple days. So,
il faut payer le 2 pièces.
On va payer le 2 pièces, les gars. That's funny. It's funny, but bro, like, it brings me to, like, you've got 4 choices, like, and in the book they describe them. You've got 4 choices of action, 4 degrees. It's either you do nothing, you retreat,
Mm-hmm.
you're a normal action taker, a normal level of action taker, or you're someone who take massive actions. And we'll go through all four levels today because I feel like it's very interesting. It's a very interesting chapter. It's very revealing, and you might know someone that fits the avatar perfectly, that fits the profile. Um, so um, so yeah, and obviously you're only gonna do as much as you know as where you invest the most, like where you invest the most attention in, and where your focus is the most invested in, is where it's gonna it's gonna take you to that, like I don't know how to say that. Je sais pas comment l'expliquer, George. Faudrait que je le dise en français, mais le
Like you're
niveau
putting in
d'action.
the level of action that you put. So it comes down to your goal setting. You're gonna put.
Yeah.
That's why he preaches to put massive goals, because if you're talking about how much action do I have to put in, it's going to depend on what your goals are. If you have small goals, then it's only normal you're going to do small actions together. And if you do
Yeah, you're just gonna
massive
do as
goals,
much.
you're going to put massive action, and you need to
Yeah.
do that. And he talks about that. There's no shortcut. There's no shortcut, bro. There's some days where I feel completely useless. I'm putting in all this time, all this effort, and it feels like it feels like the needle is not moving. But then you have this random day that, like, boom, you catch a break, and you're like, and it's like a feel good moment where it's like, okay, you catch like a little wave. You catch a little wave where you feel like, okay, all that work I just put in, it's like, that's why I put in all that work. That's why you land a big client. That's why I put in all this work. And you get these little wins. And that's really what keeps you going.
And basically, you will go through all phases of and their emotional phases. You will go through all phases of, you have clients, it's going well, and you have no longer business, and you're looking for business, you're looking for job, you're looking for some ways, and it's not coming. The thing that should always stay constant in this in what we're talking about is your level of action. It should always stay the same, no matter how you feel, no matter how you do. If you keep pushing and you keep bombarding at, not doing the same thing, if it doesn't work, obviously it doesn't work, you change, but the level of action should not change. You should not take a break because it doesn't work. You should do the opposite, obviously, but it doesn't come natural. But we'll talk about it. Doing nothing, the first level of action, doing nothing. So it means you no longer take actions to move yourself forward, in order to either learn, achieve, get sales. Like, I don't know if it happened to you when we were working in call centers, bro. Sometimes it's invading your body. You don't get it just doesn't work. Like, you're tired. You either don't sleep well, something is happening at home. It happened to me. I was moving.
You catch a rough patch. You catch a rough patch. You start spiraling downwards, and you start feeling hopeless. And you're like, oh man, like, you put in so much work learning the skill, learning the trade, and you're like, oh, why can't I? It's like something that's not working. And then it just takes that one little win. That we talk about wins again. It connects. We talk about those W's, how important they are to bring you back up.
Did it happen to you, in the past, to have like more than a week of no
many
sales?
Times, bro. Yeah, bro, it happens all the time. Well, all the time, in the sense, because like you're working all the time, you're always having those little slumps, right? It's like the stock market. It never always goes up. You always have a little correction, a little down. You have recessions. It all works the same way.
Mais j'ai l'impression, George, que comme t'as vraiment trois choix. You got three choices at that point. Like, I remember working in the call centers. I remember like sitting down and having just no energy. Like, I was like, how am I gonna make this other call? I can't take it anymore. Like, each call felt just like I wouldn't say slavery
like a
because
drag. It
it's a bit
feels
too deep.
yeah. It feels yes. It feels like a chore. It feels like a chore. It's like ugh.
I need to do this other call. I need to do this other call, and that was at the beginning of being in sales department, and I had to like create a system, a reliable system, to never end up in that state, because it's only a state of it's only like it's your mind that's playing trick on you. Because if you feel better, if you get, like you said, if you get a double, you get a random W, someone like your boss comes in and says, hey, someone faxed in a contract signed, you're all pepped, you're like, hey,
You're
cool,
pep, yeah.
hey. And then you start selling. So what happened really?
Dopamine.
And
Dopamine got triggered in your
it's
brain. That's what happened.
it's dopamine that triggered a bunch of other systems, a bunch of other things in your
But I
in your
don't
body
like
and
that.
brain.
I don't like that. That's not a good way to go about your.
It's not
It's not a good
consistent.
way to just rely on that, bro. Because you're gonna have so many. If you rely on the dopamine hit from a sale to keep going to the next ones, you're not gonna last. You're not. Or you're okay. You're gonna last, but you're always gonna be like flatlining, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
That's
But like
interesting
you say, if
because
you have a system
when we
in
were
place,
talking,
if you have a
when we
when
were
you have
talking a
goals in
couple days
place and
before.
the
Sorry, bro, I cut you off. Go ahead.
it's okay. I'm used to it by now. Go ahead.
Me too. I'm used to it. Sometimes you cut me off too. Sorry, bro. No, but just keep
We're
going,
so
bro.
bad, bro.
Yeah. It's okay. I just wanted to say something
I don't
because
know.
last week.
I lost my. I lost. It's crazy. We both lost our train of thoughts. I feel you're passing.
No.
Tu me passes la parole because you also
I'm
lost your train of thought.
dominating. I remember my train of thought. Get out of the track. Got my train of thought coming.
Choo choo.
Choo choo. A train of thoughts coming. Oh my god. No, but bro, I remember last week you were talking about commission and giving incentives to employees to encourage their commitment, and they would want to sell more.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay, but that's not the end game. If it was only that, like, you would have like overperforming companies, and we wouldn't know why. We would be like, yeah, they pay so much. They have a commission structure is just so crazy that they just could afford.
Let me
it's
let
not
me
working
re-explain.
that
So
way.
I was talking not about compensation. I was talking about an equity plan. When you give people equity, all of a sudden they become an owner. They treat it like it's theirs. So they're involved in the downfall, and they're also involved in the when the company is going uphill.
So that's interesting.
And a lot of companies do this. Obviously, it's harder for the small companies to, as a small business, you can't give equity when you're small and you're like, it's more the big companies that do that.
Yeah.
And the whole point of that is to give people ownership. Banks give people shares because, like, well, look, if they're not going to talk shit about the bank when the stock price goes up, they're getting richer. They're employees, but they're also owners.
There's also been, I just want to say, there's also been a lot of examples of shareholders being rogue and being greedy and being, not being healthy for the business. But I don't want to get into that. But it's also happening. What I mean is, if we go back to the book, and you take the example of the book, ants and beehives are not showing any signs of lethargy or lack of purpose, or like us humans are. You don't see that in nature. It's not a natural behavior to not act or to be bored or to stay in a state of complacency. It's just not a nature thing.
I love that you brought that up because I think of, when I think of animals and the animal kingdom, I think of God, I think of the creator, and I think of roles. Bees, you spoke about bees. Bees have their roles in the ecosystem. Every animal has a role to play, and their purpose is to fulfill those roles.
But you would say that if you look at a beehive from the exterior, it's moving, like it's moving a lot. ants colonies, the same stuff. Like
Bro, ants are fucking
there's
fascinating as shit, man.
to survive, to be able to survive, life has to be in a constant state of action.
Crisis.
It needs to move. Survival is all about moving and evolving and um, evolving because there's constant change, right? So our brain, we're smart. We're smart creatures that had the luxury to be able to like create comfort and be find complacency and find a place where we could just be comfortable and stop looking for survival. We're not survivalists anymore. We're not living to survive anymore. We're living to be comfortable, and that brings us boredom. That brings us to a level of not doing anything and finding comfort in that. But we spend time just justifying that situation where we're not doing anything to because, like I said, constant change will change will happen. If you're a squirrel, you don't know, but you know that you need to keep food aside for winter. You don't know, even if like no other squirrel told you, but you're following. You're
It's
like,
nature.
hey,
It's nature. Right. Right.
I need to
Dogs do that when they bury
survive.
their bones. The dog, you give them something, they're gonna go bury it somewhere. Why? Because
It's
in case of a
nature.
rainy day.
Yes.
In case of a rainy day. And
So-
we're the same way.
So we lost that. I feel like we lost that along the way. We lost our survival and future, like planning for the future, knowing that things might happen. We think that by not putting in the effort now, we will be saving in some way some sweat or saving.
I can't relate.
But
to that.
it takes tremendous amount of effort to just like be an underachiever. Like, wouldn't you agree? Like, if you're underachieving,
I can't relate to that because I'm the type that's completely focused on the future. I would argue that you should have a balance. You should have you should live kind of in the moment as well. And I'm somebody
but
personally
we've been young.
who's more about living in the future, who's more about trying to set myself up for the future.
On était jeunes, right? On était jeunes. On a déjà fait des niaiseries. We chilled at Louis D, right? We chilled at Louis D. You chilled at Louis D. I did.
Sure. Yeah.
We were. Did we underachieve though? That's a question. But I feel like I've been in some if let's be real, like let's be honest.
Instead of fucking being at Louis D, we could have been buying Bitcoin and buying property. Like, that's my only regret.
On aurait pu être plus. Yeah, on aurait pu être plus concentré, focus, effectivement. So I feel like at that point we were doing nothing. We were in that state. We were in that level of doing nothing, and we were thinking in that sense that we would be by chilling at Louis D and not building ourselves, we were maybe on se disait, je profite de ma vie. Are we?
We were building ourselves though. When you're kids, you should be outside playing. You should be, man, because then you're gonna go. Okay, let's say you're focused on yourself and building yourself like in a career sense. You're gonna grow up to be a different person than what you would have been. Antisocial. You need to build those skills when you're young. Go play sports. You learn a lot of lessons, teamwork, social skills, all those things.
But I feel like I feel like we could have been like something else faster, and on aurait profité plus de notre jeunesse by making more money, by knowing more people, being in more like the stuff that we were talking about at Louis D. We were not acting upon, and it took years. It took actually years to really put like.
We weren't acting upon it. No, it was all talk. It was all like, yeah.
It was all talk. Yeah, we should do that. It would be amazing. I remember, like, let's be real, like. And not for all of us, because some of us did better than others. but I feel like in some sense you need to be true. Like, what's true right now? What's true to you right now? What are you doing right now with your life? You could be doing something else. You could be doing like this podcast, me and Jord, when we started it, was not the natural path for us to take. Like, it was not something like, hey, wait, on fait un podcast. No, we thought we were talking about it, but we were
Not for
more
long. We didn't
important.
talk. We didn't talk much
C'est
about
ça.
it. Huh? We
C'est
just
ça. On n'a
fucking
pas
like, yeah, let's
attendu.
do it. Yeah. Like, yeah, okay,
Yeah, we
perfect.
should do that. Hey,
Let's go.
what's the
Okay,
disadvantage?
episode number
What could
1.
happen? Right. Boom. On l'essaye. Let's try and see.
And now
Because
we're
just
on
talking-
and now we're at
Right.
episode like we're at episode 45.
45
Crazy.
of just trying to see.
Yeah.
So and it gives you results by just going forward. So it's obvious that if you do nothing, you're not living at your full potential. You need to put actions after the words, hey, I don't like the words, ce serait, hey, ce serait bon. What if
No,
we
I
did
don't like that either. I don't like
something? What if? Yeah.
Ugh.
What if we start something and like something happened? Like you're speculating about the outcome
Yeah.
of what if. You don't know. Start it. And then say
Yeah.
what if while doing it. What
See,
if we do this? What if we do
Wh-
that?
When I was a little bit younger and a little less mature, I would get like I would be satisfied with having a conversation with somebody about business. So my mind would be satisfied with that. Like, oh, you spoke about business. It was a productive talk. It was a productive chat you had. So my brain would be happy with that. It would be like, oh, okay, you're being productive. And I would get like the reward system in my brain would hit, you know? Now, when I have conversations about business with people, I need to be taking action right away. Otherwise, my brain is like, no, you're not going to act on it. Because of all those talks that I used to have in my earlier years, where I felt happy in the moment about having those talks, but then nothing ever materialized from those conversations. And now, when I'm having those talks, I'm inclined right away. Like, okay, what's the next step? What the same like what this podcast you and I had, because you and I don't talk just to talk. When we talk, we do something about it. Always. That's what I love about us. And I feel like a lot of people watching us could learn from us. Taking action, and when it comes to just our basic character traits that we have that we could share with people. Because I feel like most people around us are acting like the way I used to act when I used to have chats about business and stuff. Like, dude, I fucking moved the country. I said I'm moving the country, and I fucking moved to a different country. Started buying property overseas. Why? Because my brain wasn't satisfied anymore with just talking and just like, oh yeah, let's do this. We could do it. Nah, I'm not happy with let's do this. Let's do this actually flips me out now, because it's like, oh, the other person's gonna think I'm like, not somebody who takes action. And I can't do that. I got to be the guy who takes action, because I'm preaching I'm here preaching it.
You're looking for the person who's going to say more like, what do we need to do now? What's next? Like, what you
What's
need
the
me
next
to
step?
do something
What's the
like,
next step?
yeah, what you need. Specific action. Like when they bring you to to a specific place with their question, you're like, okay, this guy understands. Like, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about action. And when people are talking actions, it's different. It's just a different language. And when you notice, like, hey, this person is actually like he turns stuff blank.
There's
neutral stuff into actions.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's two types of action. There's taking action, and then there's motion. There's the motion. Motion, and I think it was in the 10X book. Motion is when you're going and meet your accountant. You're going and have a talk with your accountant about setting up your business. You're going to open up those are motion. Those are like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you're going and meet with your lawyer to discuss your venture. Like, there's motion and there's action. Motion is not action. Actions are what's going to lead you to make money in. A business is money in, not money out. Money in is a business. Selling something, exchange, boom, money in. So like, just saying like, oh, I'm going to go meet the accountant. That to me is not an action. It's not an action. Building a website, that's an action. Putting up products for sale on your website, that's an action.
Creating funnels,
making phone calls, making sales calls, that's an action. Those are all action. Not going meet my accountant to start my to open up an LLC. That to me, it's not really an action. You don't need to create an LLC right away. The first thing you need to do is money in, sell. Like, what are we selling? What are we exchanging?
Yeah,
And
because you could like there's a lot of people who would be like, hey, I don't have like it's end of season, people don't have money, they're keeping money for Christmas presents or whatever. You still have your phone and you still have a chair to sit on, and you could probably find a pen and a paper. And
you don't even need a chair. Stand up.
You don't even you could stand up. Yeah, you're right. You could sell the chair. You could sell the chair.
Sell the chair.
to get a proper list of numbers and actually call businesses, call cold visit. If you don't have a phone, cold visit, bro. Cold visits. And I'm not talking I'm talking about business. I don't know if you could still do that in residential in this area, in this life. I don't do residential. But I would say cold visits, cold call, recall, callbacks, call, man. Like you need to pick up the phone. And you need to start
worry
calling.
and don't worry if your computer is slow, or if your computer is slow. I used to get bogged down by stuff like, oh, my computer is slow right now, therefore I can't.
And you say that, and
my computer
is slow, start bugging,
my internet is slow, therefore I can't do this.
And your shit starts
when we
bugging,
first started this podcast, I was running and I'm still running the shit. I just ordered a new computer, and okay, yes, I'm complaining. My computer is slow, but did I stop fucking editing videos? Did I stop taking action? Did I stop posting on our pages? No,
rolling.
I kept
going.
The
agenda going.
Yes, I was fucking. I was fucking pulling my whatever hairs I have left in my head. I was pulling them out, buzzing for how slow my computer was. But I was like, no, I'm not waiting. Okay, now I ordered a new computer. The new computer's on the way. Do you think in my mind I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to wait for my new computer to come to continue editing videos? No, I continue. The show goes on, bro. The show fucking goes on. And I used to be okay mentally. I used to be okay with, okay, my new computer's on the way. So therefore I could chill for now until next week. No.
And it's not like we have thousands of viewers, right? It's not like it's popping and we're making so much money with the podcast right now. It has nothing to do with that. It has something to do with just being a guy of action and just pushing forward something that we believe in the future will be. It's already giving like some stats, some sort of stats of like, but let's be honest, like it's not something like, it's not dopamine to my brain every morning when I wake up. The actual dopamine I get is actually what you said a little earlier, is the value that I get from the podcast while we're chatting and having these creative bouncy thoughts.
We're both growing. Like, you know what I mean? We're both growing right now. Like want to give value to people, but at the end of the day, we're being selfish because we're also growing from this. 100%. And what did I want to say? I wanted to say an absolute banger, but I lost my choo-choo.
That's my fault. Sorry, bro. But I wanted to talk about the second level of action takers, the retreaters, because I feel like there's a lot of people that would maybe relate or know people in their environment who are toxic like that, because they're toxic. Retreaters are toxic. Those are the ones who take actions in reverse. In order to avoid, they actually avoid any negative experience or anything that could involve failure. So if action means, hey, we might lose or we might think bad about me, or it's like totally fear-based, people will retreat. So they will take actions in order to go on the other side, go the opposite way completely. And actually, in some case, some people might even.
How much fear did you have? How much fear did you have, Phil? You personally, when we started this podcast, we are going on live on a camera. We're doing live segments. Did you feel comfortable?
Of course not, because there's two businesses on top of my head right there, and these I'm attached to them. I those are like babies that I've cherished and I worked hard, and of course, like there's a lot to lose, and of course there's like you start thinking, hey,
my sister says get away from my mic.
Oh my god.
But yeah, dude, what I mean by that is when we started this, when I said that you had fear, like and I'm sure even my sister too. My sister too has a podcast. I'm sure at the beginning too, she was like, elle était mal à l'aise. She was like
Mhm. You're scared.
worried about being judged, about being filmed. That's what I meant by that. I know you have
Yeah, of
other
course.
businesses on the side, and like this is not your main thing, obviously. But for me, it was the fear of, I don't know, maybe the fear of getting judged is the fear of like, oh, maybe because it's live, bro. It was like we just jumped straight to doing live segments, and at first I was a bit like worried, but now I don't give a shit anymore. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks.
How
As long
about
as I-
people
as
are
long as I
already
help.
judging you? How about people are already judging you? Like, if you start thinking about like, hey, people are already judging me anyways. Like, I have employees. I know some of these they judge me. Some of these they saw my house. They were like, I don't want to work for him. I know. Like, I don't know. When you cross that line of just like people would judge you, no matter what. Like, no matter what you do, you're fine. You're good. You're nice. You're gentle. You're not saying bad words. People will judge you for whatever. You're praying God. You're praying Allah. Whatever. Like
Right.
it doesn't
You
change
vote.
anything.
You're a Democrat. You're a fucking liberal. You're this. You're that. People are always gonna find a reason to judge you.
They will
Just
find a
go
reason.
fucking read comments.
Just go out there
And sometimes
and
I
get
don't know why-
known.
I don't know why I
Obscurity,
fucking-
obscurity. Sorry, George. Obscurity is your enemy, not talent. I just have to say that obscurity is your enemy. You
Preach,
need to,
boy,
you need
preach.
to be seen. You need to be seen. Like, they don't know you. That's your real problem. Not
true.
like talent. Like, nobody cares. People with no talent who started today, they got known later on, and they're winning. Who cares? Who cares if you're on dicks? And
What
get
does he
known
say?
for
What
it?
does he
Who
say? Our
cares?
boy Grant. What does he say? Money follows attention.
Attention.
It doesn't matter if
Attention.
it's for the wrong reason.
Just get the ATT first, bro. The rest
Get
will
the
follow.
ATT first. Yes, sir. Meanwhile, us 0 viewers right now.
Yeah.
Wait. Just wait. Wait till my computer comes. Then we'll have more viewers.
Wait till we start really taking massive action over this podcast. Like, we're just starting. We're just starting up with our like.
I
out
love
our
that,
mics and like,
bro. I love the way your mind works, Fel. Wait till we take massive action. We're literally doing one fucking live session a day. How is that not massive action? We are fucking.
Wait till we
taking
do
action,
2
bro.
a day.
But
We're
that's
gonna
what
do
I
10.
love about. That's why I love about how our minds work. Because meanwhile, we are technically taking big actions every single fucking day, and we're like still like, oh yeah, wait till we take big actions. So that means like we think we're not taking big actions, which means that there's more to come from these
There is.
currently big actions that we're taking.
There is, yeah. It will like.
Oh, it's impossible that we're not going to be successful. It's impossible that we're not going to the fucking moon. It's impossible with this mindset that we've cultivated. C'est pas possible. It's impossible that it goes any other way.
It's because
Man, through
I don't
through
know.
the bad days.
Like, I feel like these concepts they're taught. They're not. You're not born with them. You see kids when they go play outside, they never want to stop. Like, kids are the best examples. My daughter she never wants to go to bed. She never wants to stop playing. Kids are always taking massive levels of action all the time. Their curiosity is never ending. And as a parent, you're out there saying, "Hey, fais pas ça. Hey, don't go there. Hey, come back. Hey, it's time to go to bed. It's time to stop. You're always saying that. You're putting that in your child's brain, and once he gets to the adult life, we're out there telling them, "Let's go, vas-y." You've been telling them to stop for like the massive part of their childhood, and now you're out there telling them,
like because the kids need to like when you tell a kid like don't put your hand on the stove, it's hot. They're not really gonna listen. Like they kind of have to go, burn their hand. And we talk. It's the same thing in business. You have to make mistakes, otherwise you're not gonna learn. Like.
Otherwise, you're gonna fear success because you feel like you might burn yourself. You're gonna fear success.
Yeah, but
the fear will be attached to success.
After making so many mistakes, so when you're a kid, you need to do that. You need to make mistakes. You need to make your child make mistakes. Obviously, like you have to be careful with that. There, don't fucking make them fall off a balcony. But like as you mature and as you get older, and in business, after you make so many mistakes, after you're like, I don't know if this happened to me recently. I was encouraging mistakes to happen to me because I know that that's where the growth is, that's where learning is. But now, as I
Right.
mature more and more, I'm like, okay, how can I learn from people? How can I avoid mistakes now? Now I'm looking, how can I avoid costly mistakes now? Because I've made so many expensive mistakes.
Right.
And now it's like, okay, now I want to avoid mistakes. Let me learn from people who made those mistakes now, because I know mistakes can be costly. So there's like
Right.
a fine balance. I just wanted to touch something, Phil. We're talking about retreat now. We're talking about the retreat, which is the people who retreat from challenge because of fear of challenge, due to discomfort, reaction to past failures, criticism, fear of the unknown, all that stuff. Like, we talk about inflation. Inflation is an example I wanted to use because, like, I see people complaining about inflation all of the, like, all over the place. Like, I can't afford to buy food. I can't afford. It's sad, obviously, but it's like, are you going to be the type of person that's just going to sit back and like, okay, inflation is happening. You have no control over it, but are you going to be the type of person that just sits back, complain about it, and retreat? Or are you the type of person that says, okay, because inflation is here, because shit's more expensive, I need to fucking work harder. I need to put more fucking action in.
So that's very interesting because you can't actually retreat from inflation. It's so funny that you take inflation as an example, because like if you're someone who retreats in general, and you're like, hey, I don't want to be in the major leagues. I did not sign for that. I just want to have my little job, my little 9 to 5, my 40 hours a week. My inflation will destroy you, because it's either like it's you have 3 levels of we spoke about 3 levels of action, right? Doing nothing, retreating. So doing nothing,
Right.
you don't even go for CV, like you're living at your mom type of thing. Retreating would be not engaging in any type of competition or anything. You just like you just take the bare minimum, and you would never start anything. I think the most dangerous group is the group of the normal action takers. So normal, I would say average people who are thinking that they have 75 grand a year salary, which is fine, which pays the bills, which with like they made a budget, right? They made a little budget. They spoke to their significant other and be like, hey, we make that much money a year and everything goes fine. So and they go with it, and they don't try to look for more. They just take normal level of action. Inflation will rock your world and will basically destroy what you've built.
But
And
you're also one like fire away. You're also from poverty.
right now, yeah, like middle class right
If you're
now,
if you're
it's
just
is
if you're
it's
just relying
proven
on that,
statistically. Yeah.
it's yeah, you get fired. You're in a different category.
And the mass will
I was
make you
listening to
think.
another podcast. I was listening to another podcast the other day, and I'm like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. They were talking about like side hustle. I know how you feel about side hustles. I feel the same way. But hear me out. So a person living in the third tier, normal levels of action, just a regular job. Okay, they just go to work, come back home, Netflix, chill, whatever. They brought up an important, like an interesting thing. Like he gave an idea of a side hustle. Like, why not have your regular job that pays 75K a year? Go home, fucking sign up to Uber Eats for an extra couple, an extra $2,000 a month or whatever. When you go home, wouldn't that be better than just living in the regular third tier? Now all of a sudden you're stacking up more money that you can put towards your retirement. Or I read that I watched that in another podcast recently.
The thing
Uber
is,
Eats, do Uber Eats, do Uber driving, do like
yeah, but
as a
you're gonna have
side.
to give up. You're gonna have to give up something if you do Uber Eat. I have kids. If I start you doing Uber Eat, I'm giving up time with my child. I just can't do side hustle realistically when I'm fully engaged in
Well, you're already an
180 hours.
entrepreneur. It doesn't apply to you because you're a full-time entrepreneur. So like You already have your baby.
I know
I'm talking about. I'm talking
entrepreneur who are
about.
stopping right now. No, but bro,
Thank you,
there's
Ahmed.
people right
Appreciate it,
now.
brother.
There's people right now where they're like window cleaning is over, so they stop and they start, you know, building temples, or like they do something, they do side hustles, or they do like
Yeah.
other seasonal stuff. I'm not into that thing. I'm specialized. Like
Yes. But
we
hear me
developed
out.
like
Hear me out.
our own
Wait.
thing.
But you're a full-time entrepreneur. This doesn't apply to you at all. You already have your baby. I'm talking about people who are just working a regular job. That we said it's dangerous to just be working a regular job and going back home. Those people could benefit by, even if it's like 2 to 3 hours extra per day, doing Uber Eats. Wouldn't that be better than just, working the regular job? Hey, Amit, sorry, fella. I just have one of my friends here in the live chat, bro. Thanks for
No problem.
watching, Amit. And man, one day on a Friday, can we invite you on the podcast and have a chat? Would you be interested in joining us for a chat on Friday? If not this Friday, any other Friday is good. But yeah, Fel. So
I feel
I know
like
how you feel about side hustles. I know you, because you're a guy who's into building brands, and obviously that's the more ideal. Because side
if you
hustles
create
die
average,
when
you live
if
average. You stay average. That's
it's all
my
about
point.
building a brand. Because if you want to make money in your sleep, you can't make money in your sleep by doing Uber Eats, right? It's not a type of hustle that'll make you make money in your sleep. But I'm just talking for people who are working a full-time job. And
I feel like there's a spiritual effect that's involved in doing something else than just doing what you were told to do. And as soon as you start thinking more, like it doesn't matter what it is, because we're here today to talk about actions in general and not necessarily what type. And what type is, to me, it's discretional to your situation. I've been into situation when I was younger and I had to do side things to be able to pay for my bills. I did them. So the thing here is that to not stay fine with the status quo and staying home and be like, hey, this if, especially if you feel like this ain't right, like if you already know that this ain't feeling right, you're already 50% on the path of progress. Like you're like, hey man, this does not feel right. I have my things going on. I have my I game every. I have such a routine going on that this ain't feeling right. Because there's a negative spiritual effect of a person knowing his or her potential and operating well below that potential, knowing that and not operating at a higher level. There's a negative spiritual effect. Taking massive action, like I said, it's the most natural of all state. You're born like that. If you really think about it, we're creative. Like you and me, Jord, we ended up, especially at the beginning, we ended up in so many nights where you and me, we were like bouncing ideas, looking at videos, reading books. We spent way more time than we said we were going to be spending. You told me at some point, hey, on va faire 1 heure, and I have to go, and we ended up doing like the whole night. Why? Because being curious brings out that natural state, I feel. And kids are curious like crazy. If you look at kids, that's how you should be. If you look at children, they're in constant action all the time, until parents or adults will tell them to do otherwise. They would just keep going, until they fall. I've seen my daughter do that. She was going, and boom, and we laugh. Elle est tombée, tout ça.
But like, you, for sure, there's a fine line there, because if a baby falls back and hits their head, man, it could be like really, really threatening to their development.
She created new problems, though. She created new problems for herself. Your child created new problems.
I've seen this product that it's like they wear this backpack, and it has like a cushion behind them, and if they fall back, their head is protected. Like,
I've seen that.
As long as there's nothing like threatening like that, Like if they're walking on a balcony, like, okay, touching the hot stove and making them realize, okay, hot is one thing. But like you have to be careful with that. If they're on the balcony and like, you have to, you know what I'm trying to say. Like I agree with you. I agree with what you're saying. With kids, they need to learn and we need to stop, like when I keep telling
When
you
she
about
hurts
the story,
herself, I tell her it's normal.
like, bro, when I was young back in the day and we were building those tree houses, I'm pretty sure my parents knew that I was going into the houses. Bro, I was like 12 years old, going into the houses, taking the materials and building my tree houses. I'm pretty sure she knew, but she probably didn't stop me from doing that. Like there's certain things that you got to let your child live, learn, make them make mistakes. She can't just sit there and say, "Oh, don't do this, don't do that." Like,
Hey, don't go outside. Like it? I feel like I don't want to talk about parents in general. I don't know what parents are doing. Like I'm not there, obviously, but I feel like it's so easy as a parent to be like that. To just be so like
I think this generation of
the source
parenting
of
changed
restraint.
dramatically. Like now, people are different with their kids. They're more protective, I think, more than ever. But back then, I used to our parents used to let us go in the sandbox, fucking touch everything, touch our face, like build our immune system is what this is probably going to be a controversial topic, but I don't really care. Like stuff like that. Like I see that some parents now they might be less inclined to making their kids go touch stuff outside and touch, like. My
Also,
parents
you
were more
don't
like
burn
letting
yourself.
us do. My parents were letting us be.
But it's
My parents would let
also
us
you
be.
don't burn, like now, like you say, the parents now. It's also you don't burn yourself. But what if you burn yourself? And what if like burning yourself takes so many connotations? Like burning yourself, taking too much action. Hey, you might burn yourself. Don't burn yourself. What if I burn myself? I know my limit. I know where I know I need to like stop or whatever. I know my limit. I know even better my limits than you because I went through them. I crossed those lines. I know exactly where I need to go and not to go. I know exactly how many actions I could potentially take in one day before my body breaks.
It's like that. We all know. Okay, I don't know if I should say this. When we were younger, we all had that one girl that we found cute, that their parents were super strict. Like, oh, their parents don't let them come out. We all knew somebody like that. What do you think happened as soon as that person grew up and that they were free from going to see whoever they wanted and their parents were less like, oh, no,
crazy.
You can't have a boyfriend. You can't. Dude, first thing they're going to do is they're going to go like fucking, I don't want to say it, but you get the picture.
Of course. Crazy.
So same kind of concept. Let people, they're going to go crazy. And I said this about like all girls school, all boys schools too. Like, I don't know. I'm probably getting a bit off topic. It's almost an hour, Phil. Fuck, man. There's so much to talk about, bro.
We didn't talk about massive action,
Shit.
so I just want to say, like, taking.
Wait,
massive
we were
actions.
at number 2, I think. We did retreat. We did take normal. Okay, now we're okay. Take massive actions.
So let's just quick talk about. It's the whole point of this live. Why are we talking about massive action? And it's pretty simple because we talked it through. So we're not gonna repeat yourself.
Amit, if you're still there, sign up to our YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube, go on our Facebook, bro. Appreciate it.
But a day of normal action would feel like a routine day, and a day through massive actions thinking, like a routine day, will become a thing of the past. Massive actions take all the place. So you won't really know like what a routine day looks like afterwards. As soon as you start evolving at a massive action pace, and when I was talking about calling companies, like you don't have money for marketing right now. You need to promote. You need to start cold calling right now. You need a list. Like you need a phone. You need a list. As soon as you finish this podcast, if you learn something, you need to finish this podcast. You need to close it right now. Actually, you know what? You need to it's 2:10. You need to start right now. Do calls. Like you need to start cold calling companies right now, and have yourself a new routine of waking up in the morning and finding a list and finding clients to call and asking them for business. And until people start asking you, man, what are you on? Like, what are you on? Are you yeah, I'm on something. I'm on one. Like, I'm on something. I'm on taking duty as my success as my responsibility, as my duty for my family. That's what I'm on first. That's first. I have a family to take care of. And I'm on taking massive levels of actions to make sure that this will happen. So that's what I'm on. And when people are like, those are the signals. When people start asking or commenting about the levels of actions you're taking, like, hey man, tabarouette, j'ai vu tes annonces sur Facebook, puis hey bro, like I saw your truck passing, and hey, my boss talked to me about your company. Like, as soon as people start talking about all the actions, like this podcast that we're doing, like people started talking to me about, like, hey, j'ai vu que tu faisais un podcast, puis tout, j'ai vu que les gens parlaient, puis yeah. As soon as people start commenting on your actions, you're on the right path. Those are signals that you're doing the right thing. Even people were commenting negatively. They would say like, hey man, tu travailles trop, c'est too much, you're gonna burn yourself. Your clients will not like that, bro. Like, they don't like to be disturbed like that. Phone calls, nobody like to be phone called. Why are you cold calling? People would say that.
I feel like we
like
need the negative comments too. If you're not getting negative comments, you're not growing. I don't think you're growing if you don't have any negative comments. I think it's a bad sign to not have negative comments. Wouldn't you agree?
I feel like negative comments might be also jealousy disguised. So you need to be aware of that. You need to, like, I've seen that, you know? I've seen guys, they were pulling like a lot of actions. They were posting on social media and other people were commenting. But if you go see, like, look at that person's profile, they own a business. They also own a business. They're pissed because you're taking action and they're commenting on that. So these negative comments, if you can't listen at that. You just can't listen to that. You need to, like, be happy. Once you have that, once negative comments come,
when
and
you're
like,
happy
hey,
with
it's
other
not
people,
true.
It's gonna come back to you. It's very, very, it's very infectious. It's infectious, bro. When you're happy for other people, and truly like mean it, that you're happy that they're winning, that shit is infectious as fuck.
Yeah, real recognize real. Real recognize real. Like, people who take also massive actions for their own business, and like, they will see you from far away.
I think a little bit of envy is okay. I think a little bit of envy. Let's say you see some, like, one of your friends doing good and you're a bit envious. You're not a hater, you're just a bit envious. And it pushes you to do something about it. That's amazing. I think that's amazing. You're not just sitting back being a jealous hater, because you can't control yourself of how you feel. You feel envious, but you're being, like you can't really control that. But if it makes you take action, then fuck it. Whatever makes you, get to the next level.
The goal is to be the goal is to be seen, guys. Like, let's be real. The goal is to be seen, thought of, and considered as much as you can. There's no other end goal. There's nothing else to think about. The goal is to be seen. Don't think about what people are thinking about you and what people might think. Or you need to be seen. You need to be considered. That's what we're doing with this podcast. That's why we're doing 5 times a week. We're there every day because we know we're not professionals. We know we haven't been like doing communication in school, and we're just learning. And if we want to learn fast, we need to do this a lot. We need quantity over quality.
For now, yes. And by us doing this every single day, rewatching our lives, especially rewatching, okay, like, I stutter too much, I say like too much, I say too much.
Yeah.
Even though sometimes it's a bit cringe for me to hear myself.
It's true.
It's day and night how much it helps me improve the way I speak. Okay, I should make Felix talk a bit more. I cut him off too much. It's only by rewatching that you realize these things. And I'm gonna end it with that. I don't know if it's already way 5
bro,
minutes.
I love this topic. This topic I was so passionate.
I love this topic, bro. I love it, man. I love chatting. I always like talking to you, Fel, man. You're the fucking best, bro. I fucking appreciate you, bro. I learned so much talking to you, and I
Thank you,
really
bro.
enjoy our
Me too,
conversations,
man.
bro.
100%, c'est apprécié, puis j'ai oublié le terme. J'ai oublié le mot. I'm
C'est
lost for
clair.
words.
C'est clair.
C'est clair.
Ouais.
Fait
Let's sing the song.
que,
You ready? C'est clair.
c'est clair, c'est clair. C'est clair,
Hey.
non, clair. Hey, clair. Hey,
Hey.
là, ça, c'est un exclusive.
We're
If you
so
really want
awesome.
si vous voulez qu'on ait cette song-là sur
Il
Spotify,
faudra
let us know in the
des
comments.
yes,
Okay, let's go, bro. We need to end this
All
live.
right, guys.
See you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Ciao, guys.
Hello. Ciao, ciao,
Thank you
guys.
for listening. Ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao.